So I'll talk about TOEFL and IELTS first. They're pretty comparable in terms of price, in terms of now length. TOEFL got a lot shorter, and IELTS I don't think is planning on changing anytime soon. Another important difference of the IELTS is that you can also use a pencil and piece of paper. TOEFL iBT does have a paper edition now that's popular in India and a couple other countries. So those tests are pretty similar price and in terms of experience. So TOEFL is shorter now. And as you mentioned before, the speaking section, if you want to talk to a person, it's better to take IELTS than TOEFL. So those two are pretty comparable, and also they're pretty comparable in terms of reputation. The IELTS and TOEFL both been around a while, and both have a pretty good reputation in higher education. The Duolingo English test, in terms of it's an attractive test because first of all, the price point, it's cheap. You can take the test. I think it's $59 now. It used to be $49, now it's $59, and you can order two for $100, and it's pretty convenient to take. You can take it pretty much any time. TOEFL, you can do that as well with the home edition, but it's a lot more expensive, the TOEFL. I would say that if your university really doesn't care which one you take, and they're very clear that it doesn't matter, you probably should just take the Duolingo from a price standpoint. From the standpoint of reputation, if you feel like maybe you need to have some type of difference in your resume or your application, you feel like you have to show something, you have to really prove your English, so to speak. The TOEFL is kind of seen as like for lack of a better term, gold standard of English proficiency. Like, it's like in Japan here, for example, it's a big deal if you get a good TOEFL score. And then Duolingo doesn't have that reputation. Maybe in the future they will, but just right now they don't. Oh, another thing about being accepted is that the Duolingo English test is only online. So there's some schools that won't take a home edition. Like, so TOEFL has a home edition. Some schools won't let you take a home edition. They'll tell you have to go to the test center. And if your school says that, then you can't take Duolingo because they don't do test centers. With Duolingo, the way that it's experienced is that it tracks your eye movement. There is a human in the loop. There is somebody who reviews the video and reviews your answers, but it's kind of cryptic. You don't know exactly, they don't release how humans are in the loop exactly. So it's very much a automated experience. Sometimes you'll get a test score that says your test is invalid. And you're like, why? And they say because your eyes weren't looking at the screen for long periods of time. That's the biggest complaint about Duolingo, actually. It's just that there's a lot of reasons to get an invalid test score. It's a great experience. Most people really like it. That's just the one thing that people complain about with it. I'm sure there's other things, but that's the one thing I hear about the most. With TOEFL, it is a little awkward because you have somebody watching you. There's a proctor who's looking at your camera. You don't see them, of course. You see them, you meet them when you first get on, you download some software, they give you some instructions, they check your room, you have to do some certain security checks, and they do have some software that is pretty invasive to your computer, same as Duolingo, because they want to make sure the test is secure. You can do both at home. The experience is pretty much the same, except one, you have a human proctor watching you. The other one is you don't have that. The Duolingo, in terms of the test content, one thing that you could exploit from Duolingo is that they don't have these long passages like the reading and listening in TOEFL. So the longest reading passage is like 100 words, or maybe a couple hundred words. Same thing with the listening. It's all very short. And if you've used the Duolingo app, you've probably experienced some of the question types already. Things like where there's a conversation and you have to pick like what's the best response. That's a new interactive listening question that they have now. So while TOEFL is a very academic English test, it's very geared towards university. Duolingo tries to do that, but it's pretty much, in my mind, a general English test. They wouldn't say that, I don't think, but that's how I imagine it. The passages are a bit shorter. There's not really, you don't ever have to like synthesize information. Like in the TOEFL, you have to take the reading and listening. You have to write about both, or speak about both. You don't really have to do that for Duolingo. You speak about a photo. You answer questions that are pretty basic, like independent, like the old independent speaking or writing questions. But yeah, you don't have to write and also the speaking responses are 60 to 90 seconds, but the writing is shorter. Writing, you don't have to write more than like 200 words.
Hey, if you're ready to embark on the exciting journey of studying abroad in the United States as a graduate student, I have a gift for you. Make sure you're fully prepared by downloading our free ebook, The International Student's Guide to Studying in the United States. Inside, you're going to find a comprehensive roadmap detailing everything you need to know to succeed. So don't miss out. Click the link down in the description section below to download your free copy now.